the Oddball Show, a podcasting collaboration between JP Productions and Oddball magazine.
Good evening, all you apples and oranges. This is indeed the Oddball Show. My name is Prof. I represent the JP Lime side of this podcasting teeter-totter. I'll play tour guide for this evening's journey, along with my co-host, the Pied Piper of Poetic Excellence, the OG of ODD, founder and editor-in-chief of Oddball Magazine. Please say hello to Mr. Jason Wright.
Hey, everybody. That was excellent, Prof. That was really a great introduction.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Excited to have who we have on the program today.
Yeah, man, we are loaded up on the cast tonight with all kinds of excellent, interesting people to talk to. So let me get right into it.
Yeah, get right into it.
Before I introduce the guests, we are fortunate to be joined by a special guest host of sorts. One of the four original Oddballs, 1/3 of the triumvirate known as JP Lime, and recently one half of the Boston DeJesuses. The man known as Scholar. Please say hello to Ivan DeJesus.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
What's up, buddy?
Did you know the Pied Piper was like a child molester?
I did not know that. I should.
You might want to rethink that for.
We should get into that.
My buddy Jason.
We think all Pied
Piper of poetry. I'm not sure I'd go with that.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think I'd.
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Chilling, man.
I've been cutting through with the truth.
Man.
Through the slack.
Just a little FYI, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
we see in these times.
we thank you for being here, especially on Celtics game night. For those of you listening to the podcast after the fact, we are right at the start of Celtics game 2. So it's a real sacrifice for the C's fans amongst us. But we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Go Green Teamers.
Go C's.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, so especially here in 2018, it would be difficult to deny the rising strength in the voices of America's youth. From politics, specifically the March and Fight for Our Lives movement, to movies, fashion, music, and social media, the opinions and contributions of our young people are actively reshaping the world around us. Our guests tonight take this concept as their center with Young Culture Entertainment, quote, created by youth, for youth, and beyond to help them better their craft and art through collaboration. They join us tonight to tell us who they see as the foremost figures of hip-hop's newest wave and discuss what Young Culture Entertainment hopes to lend to its evolution. Please welcome two artists of hip-hop and the minds behind YCE, Justin DeJesus and Greg Molina.
How's it going?
Hey, guys. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys taking the time. We thank you very much. When you came across our radar not long ago, it was like a couple months ago, and we had to work out some scheduling. But it was somebody that we were really excited to talk to. You guys are, you got a lot of different things going on, so we're going to try to dig into all of them. But the biggest thing we wanted to hit on tonight is we're three old dudes, so it's good to have a discussion, especially around hip hop, which is my passion and Scholar's passion. And Jason is a big hip hop fan, to have a discussion around hip hop and art, in more general terms, especially with a lot of the driving force going on right now being young people. So thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Thank you for having us on.
So let's jump right into it. How old are each of you guys?
Yeah.
I'm Justin. I'm 19.
And I'm Greg. I'm 21.
All right. So you guys are pretty young. I mean, when we think about some of the political things going on, some of them are happening among high school students, but really it's the older age of high school and people right around your age. So it's you are at the right in the thick of this. And as far as art, you guys are the minds behind Young Culture Entertainment. How long has that been around?
Well, I officially founded the company and registered it and everything as of January 2017, and but the idea spawned probably in 2010, just this idea of having like a collaborative group of artists. But eventually, when I moved to Boston, met up with Justin, and we started building the team and officially launched it in 2017, right at the beginning of the year.
Where are you originally from, Greg?
Well, originally I'm right from here, Hyde Park, Massachusetts, but I moved to Connecticut, lived there for about 6 or 7 years, and now I've been back for about 2.
And you guys knew each other before you moved, or no?
We knew each other over the internet. We have a mutual. Well, my cousin is Greg's friend.
Yeah.
We have like a mutual friend.
Right on.
And as long as I've known Greg, the idea of like young culture has been around, and like just sort of happened last year.
Yeah.
So when you guys met, when you guys started, when you know from the beginning of your relationship, it was around coalescing around this this artistic idea of bringing artists together.
Right, exactly. Like I actually have on the shirt right now. Like the original concept was Young Culture Society. Well, like that sounds kind of cultish, so I moved on from that. And like when I moved back to Boston, I saw Justin was like making these custom hat designs and doing custom designs on sneakers and hats, and I'm like, hey, you know what? Like I'm building this brand, and I could really, like use your talent like for this brand side. Like how would you like to handle the brand side of this with the merchandise and stuff like that? And it's launched from there.
So fashion was the place that it started.
Well, at least with my contact with Justin, but it was always like the main focus is I wanted to be film, music, and fashion as our trident, as you could say, of content.
And for you, where does that start? Like, where did you first get your start with interest in film or music, or what was the beginning of that?
I always used to, every time I saw a camera, I was actually interested in being behind it rather than in front of it. I was really interested in how all the buttons work. Like, even if you look at the old home videos of me, like I would run up to the camera and try to like press all the buttons and like actually grab it and film stuff. And I think it officially like launched when I was just watching YouTube videos as like a middle schooler one day, and I'm like, I look at these guys doing this, like, and they don't have Hollywood budgets or anything like that, but they have thousands to millions of people watching them, and I just got really inspired by what people were doing by themselves at home in their backyard, and I just started making movies with friends, and then it spawned from there. Like it's just kept growing.
I think that's a pretty dope part of that is that you are coming up at a time that you're inspired by people who are making their own media and entertainment at home on not necessarily lo-fi, but their own equipment, doing it all their own. And then you are able then to pretty much immediately replicate it. And the quality of all your stuff is great. It's not like it's home video quality like
right. Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty awesome time for that to be the case. That I have a dream, I have a vision for what I want to make out of this company, and I can go out and make it happen if I have the drive and I have the
definitely
the gumption to get it going. So you were always interested in being a director and being behind the camera. Justin, where did you wander into this idea of being a part of an entertainment company? Like where does that interest start for you? Is it music? Is it strictly the design?
I mean, like when it first started, I was more into like the design part. Like when Greg contacted me, was to make the 3 new logos for the 3 little portions of the brand. And then like as it slowly evolved, I kind of got more into it. And then eventually the podcast started, and I like, being in front of the camera and talking is pretty enjoyable for me now.
That's pretty dope. I read your post of the I Am a Hip Hop Artist. Actually, I think it would be cool after the show if it's all right with you. I think we'll repost it up on the Lime site.
For sure.
But I really like the idea that they're the 4 pillars, the 4 traditional pillars of hip hop. They kind of fall away a little bit as hip hop gets older. But your interest is in graffiti and in graphic design and visual design, which is such a strong part of both music and hip hop specifically. So I know I really took a lot from that post of yours.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot.
So we've got this idea in 2010 of putting a company together, and then you said you officially formed it in 2017. What was really the thing that took off first for you that you were like, all right, we should definitely pursue this together?
Oh, geez. Well, I think that when we kind of got 2017 was probably highlighted by actually, you know what? No, it started actually. I did a Comic-Con in 2016 in November. Yeah. Did a Comic-Con in 2016 in November, and it's the first thing I joined Dante Luna's like kind of media group to document the event. He was doing behind the scenes interviews and filming panels, and this is the first time I'd ever been a part of anything like that. And I was interviewing, these celebrities, these actors, and all this, and then when I was sitting in the crappy motel room we were staying in lying in bed, I was just like, this is the world I belong in. And I know that I have friends who are talented, who want to live in the same world, and so let me involve them as well. So I remember coming home that weekend from the Comic-Con, and I texted Justin, like, we're just going to do this. Yeah. And that's basically where it launched.
That's pretty dope. So I know that I've seen some of those shots from that Comic-Con in your promo video on your website. Is that the one with Abraham?
Yes, yeah, definitely. He was my first interview.
That's awesome.
Ever, like, I guess, like, technically ever, yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty high mark where to start, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I couldn't believe it, honestly.
I assume you're a Walking Dead fan.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So as far as characters on the show go, Abraham is pretty awesome.
Yes, Abraham was definitely up there, forever in our hearts.
and we won't nerd out too much, but I think he's probably a pretty cool interview subject because he's also different than the comic book. So there's like a lot for you to talk about there, and how he ends up disappearing from the show, versus how his character goes in the comics. So
there's that difference there, and he was really nice. He was a real cool guy to talk to.
Right on.
Is he the guy from the Boondock Saints?
No, that's Norman Reedus. That's Daryl. Yeah, okay. I haven't gotten a chance to. I was gonna try to get an interview with him in this year, 2017's Rhode Island Comic-Con, but he had to be pulled away to film the finale, so didn't get a chance to do that.
Okay, cool.
What was the other thing I was going to say is that shout out to the very talented Dante Luna. If you're not familiar with his work, he's one of the most talented filmographers and videographers in Boston. Please go out and check his work. That's Dante Luna. We have some circles intertwining as far as he goes, and I just want to make sure that we give a quick shout out to him.
Sure.
All right, so that's really cool. So that Comic-Con is a pretty high place to start. What then was what did you then want to do with those videos? What prompted you to start Young Culture Films?
With Young Culture Films, I know that before, like, what we were doing was more like, I guess, movie stuff, because we were doing the Abbott on our post-apocalyptic web series. We were doing more like traditional narrative filmmaking. And then, after that Comic-Con, I realized, hey, there's a place for these more documentary, these interview type of videos. And so now we're developing like a youth empowerment series called Creatives, and we're going to be interjecting that more documentary style, that kind of just raw, question-based, interview-based content.
So Creatives, let's make sure that we talk about that a little bit. And for our viewers that don't know, the podcast runs up on both Oddball Magazine and jplineproductions.com right now, and you can find it on our social media and all kinds of other places that we'll mention in just a moment. But along with that, there'll be a pertinent link section where we'll make sure to put direct links into all the projects that we're talking about tonight for YCE. Because most importantly, we thank you for listening to this conversation, but we want you to go out and check the art and check these people out. We want you to be involved with our guests. So there'll be links up to all that. So let's talk about Creatives a little bit. What is it? What is it that you're hoping to do with Creatives?
Well, Creatives was designed to basically give content to people like us. It's basically a love letter to us and to any creatives that are our age and making things, whether they're struggling or they're finding success. I think there's always room to learn new things, and I don't think it's ever a bad thing to take advice from people who've done it before you and are currently living off of talent you may be pursuing.
Right.
So we just want to provide real in-depth content for, real information that young creatives can take away from people who are making a living doing it. You know, whether that's actors or musicians or business owners. You know, we've interviewed like local Boston business owners too.
Dope.
That all counts.
Yeah, I mean, I actually say it a lot that I think that there's a huge market for people out there that want to know a little bit about how like the sauce is made, how seeing behind the scenes in order to understand how an artist or even a business owner, how they do what they do. So I don't know, I think it's a really cool idea for a series.
I remember taking some inspiration from Masterclass, like the Masterclass type.
Yeah.
So I've kind of shrunk that down, and it's more like free.
Oh, you took a Masterclass?
Well, I've taken a couple, but like I saw
awesome.
that concept, and I kind of like, those are perfect for young creators. But there are still people who may not be able to pay the $100 for this class, and there's so many good ones, you can't take them all unless you want to break the bank. So that may be less expensive than college, and I've opted to create an even cheaper route, if you will, if you want to go with that word. It's,
I was thinking of taking maybe the Malcolm. What was it? Who's it? Not Malcolm. Malcolm Gladwell. I was thinking about taking maybe his. How to write a story or write a novel.
Yeah, there's a few director. I wanted to take like Ron Howard's. I know Scorsese just did one. That's one I want to do for sure. But
you must be a fan of Inside the Actor Studio then too.
Yes,
that's the exact same idea, And I think Lipton's he's one of my favorite interviewers. He's like I don't know if I want to hang out with him. He's kind of a weird old dude, but like the questions that he asks are insightful, which I don't know. I always look for in an interviewer.
Agreed.
Charlie Rose was one of my favorites too, until it turned out that he's a complete scumbag.
Yeah,
but he was a great interviewer. He's really good at doing that.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that in those circles. Like,
I also like the guy from NPR. He had a little scandal too, but he was one of the best interviewers. The guy from On Point. I thought he was a great interviewer, but I think he's off the air now too. So,
you know who else I like? That this will go. With scorn, I imagine, but I think Carson Daly is actually a good interviewer. I think he comes up with good questions. Like I think
Carson Daly.
Yeah, I used to watch his late night talk show and be like, "Holy shit, man! Like you seem like a frat boy, like jackass, but you actually have some interesting questions to these musicians and artists and all this other shit." So like, I don't know. I always look for that.
The inspirational stylings of Joe Rogan myself.
I gotta love Joe.
He's got a great podcast, man.
Yeah, killer podcast. It's like 5 hours long every time, but I love it.
It's hard to get through. I usually watch the clips now, but like it's hard to get through the full 3 hours. Like, you don't want to do anything else.
Do you guys listen to a lot of podcasts? I've been trying to recently, and I don't have like long stretches like you were saying to get all the way through it. But I think it's obviously one of my favorite new formats, and I know that we should talk about your podcast. But you guys, as people who are interested in making media through this format, do you listen to it? Do you like tune into other podcasts?
Yeah, I listen to a ton of podcasts. My favorite one right now is the Joe Budden podcast.
Joe Budden?
Yeah, Joe Budden.
All right, I haven't listened to his.
Not Brilliant Idiots?
No.
That's not Joe Budden?
No. It's or it might be, but no. But it's like Joe Budden's podcast now is it's like 2 hours long. He just goes through hip hop as a culture, and that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, what do you like about his approach? Because he's very in your face. Like he doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah, so he's very direct, and he doesn't hold back, and I like that. And then the two other hosts he has are his friends. Like I think it's Maul and Rory are his friends.
Gotcha.
And they're in the hip hop scene too. They don't like rap or anything, but they're really educated. It's a very educated group of guys, and I like it because they don't have sponsors or anything, so they're like very honest. They tell their opinions.
Gotcha.
Very good.
Nice. Brilliant Idiots was Charlemagne the God. I was
yeah,
because I know those two are chummy, and they have a similar approach. They both very pull no punches type.
Charlemagne the God's also a good interviewer as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I like his interviews too. And then I just listened to a bunch of sports podcasts, comedy podcasts, all that.
dope. I mean, I like I said, I'm trying to get myself to listen to them more because they really are. It's like a pure form of radio without like being interrupted every 5 seconds by commercials or other. You know, you can really dig in. Some of them are like an hour long of digging into a certain subject. Some of them, you know, are conversations. But I think it's a really interesting and pure form of audio entertainment that, you know, I should ingest more.
You're gonna love what I'm about to say next. So on Spotify, I was like just checking out Spotify like as I usually do, and it's like, so you like Kanye West?
I knew you were gonna say. I knew the next word out of your mouth was gonna be Kanye. I knew that.
Yeah. So there's this awesome documentary about Kanye West. The first three episodes are about Kanye, and then the last 13 episodes are about Dark Twisted Fantasy. Each song is dissected, and that's so cool to me.
That's pretty dope. I would listen to that because I like Dark Twisted Fantasy. I think,
yeah, dude, the samples on that are unreal. Like the ones that he came up with and stuff. And oh man, so like it's awesome.
Do you guys even remember Dark Twisted Fantasy, Justin and Greg?
Well, I've listened.
I had to go back and listen.
Yeah, I've listened.
And more importantly, do you remember the big 3, like the good ones, like the good Kanye albums? Like the other ones are like interesting for reasons, but like the big 3,
right?
The college
dropout, late registration.
Yeah. I've listened to all of it. Yeah, but to me, I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is actually his best album.
Oh my god,
crazy!
It's an unbelievable album, and if you like that podcast style, this guy breaks. It's called Dissect, and it breaks down every single lyric, every single beat, every single sample. Like I learned like that he sampled Outkast for the drums on the first song off of Dark Twisted Fantasy, and that the part that Nicki Minaj sings at the very beginning, you know, you might think you peeped the scene, that part. That's actually from Road Doll. That's from Twisted Tale of Road Doll by Cinderella. Well, sorry, Twisted Tale of Cinderella by Road Doll. So you don't know that stuff, but it's unreal. Like this was a pretty incredible podcast, definitely.
That's what I love about podcasts is there's a bunch of like niche type of, or niche, however you pronounce it. A lot of different, you know, a lot of very specific podcasts where it's like you get ones with guests, you get ones without, you just get someone rambling about a topic. Game show-esque ones. Like there's a lot to be consumed out there. It's a pretty saturated market, but it's a very diverse one. So
you guys do with yours.
Yeah, are you on iTunes? I was going to ask you where you put your podcast, and if you can find it on iTunes rather easily, or do you have to search long and hard for it?
So it's not on iTunes yet. We have it on our YouTube channel. It goes up Wednesdays.
Yeah,
it goes up on Wednesdays. You don't have to search that hard for it because you just type in our YouTube and it's there. But eventually, we do want it on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and we go live on Twitch too.
Oh yeah. We use Twitch too to go live.
Oh, are you guys gamers?
Somewhat, yeah. I would say we are, yeah. But we decided to use Twitch as like in a different way because we know we follow YouTubers who use it as a podcasting platform. So we thought that was kind of interesting, and the platform's growing daily. So we decided, might as well jump on the ship.
Yeah,
that's smart thinking. That's smart thinking.
There's like a new category. It's like literally talk shows and a bunch of people just podcast there.
Yeah.
That's great. You grab the new market there. Twitch is definitely a younger generation, and I mean, we're using the YouTube. We're using YouTube and iTunes, but grabbing Twitch, that's pretty cool. That's like that's innovative because normally people use Twitch for like playing Fortnite or like other games.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Pretty cool. It's a cool way to kind of turn it on its head.
I mean, Drake brought a lot of people over there.
Yeah, exactly. It's been making headlines recently with all these streamers playing with rappers, like playing Fortnite.
So you really think that Drake, is that, I know that he plays, you think it's a real thing that he just brings people over because he plays?
I think that it opens more eyes up to Twitch.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I know that you guys have probably heard negative stories about them, but the Jake Paul, Logan Paul guys on YouTube.
Logan Paul.
I believe Logan, the older brother, just jumped on Twitch and literally brought like 10 million of his subscribers over instantly.
Crazy.
So he's bringing this legit, and it sucks that he's on the platform. I don't have a problem saying that publicly, but it's like he's bringing that further legitimacy. Like, Twitch is becoming a legitimate competitor to YouTube.
Is Twitch subscription only or no?
No.
No, there's both.
Yeah, there's both. Yeah.
All right. Right
Yeah,
on.
I somehow I got Twitch Prime because I wanted to get the skin for Fortnite, so now I have Amazon Prime as well. So I can get shipments in 2 days for stuff. But I mean, like, that Twitch, I wasn't expecting it. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
You guys have experimented with the IG Live too, right?
Oh yeah.
We've done Instagram Live, Periscope. We've done a lot of live stuff.
So you've podcasted live from using the IG Live, and how does that work out for you guys?
It's pretty cool. We actually do get a lot of people that view it on the Culture page, and while I like it because of the interaction.
Yeah, it's almost a better way than like the Twitch chat room. It's like a cool way to do like you said, Justin, like interaction with the people watching. Like for some reason, we get more actual interaction and like active
people
listeners.
Are engaged.
And engagement. Engagement on Instagram.
Hashtag old man ways here. I have no idea what Twitch is. I apologize. I'll sad trombone myself for that one. But yeah, I imagine with the IG Live feature and the other apps, the Periscope, that it does work out because people are watching you podcast live and they're not just listening to you; they're seeing your body language and your facial expressions and you're interacting with each other, which you guys have.
That's pretty cool.
Imagine that works out really, really awesomely. Do you guys make it a point to go live like every week, every other week, or is it just kind of whatever you guys are feeling at the time?
In the beginning we did it live more because we were trying a bunch of new stuff out, but now we record it and we record video too, so it's not just looking at like our logo, but we do like 15 or 10 minutes live of some shows, and we'll put on Instagram and throw it to the YouTube so people know where to find it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What is it that you guys do with your podcast? So for our listeners that have not yet seen it.
So my podcast is called Barbershop Talk, and I mean I try to take it from the meeting. That was good.
It's a way of asking you to expound without asking you.
So like barbershop talk to me is like when you sit in the chair and you just like start talking about what's relevant, what's cultural, all that stuff.
Nice.
So like I mean that's basically what the podcast is. You talk about hip hop, but tangents happen. Talk about whatever you want.
Pop culture.
I really got a kick out of that.
Yeah, I thought you would. Now, Justin, in your case, just judging by your profile picture here, it doesn't look like you spend too much time in a barbershop aside from
that was cold, son.
Oh my goodness.
That is true.
But the times he has, he's used to fuel the inspiration.
That's right. He soaked it all up.
Exactly.
I absolutely love the sound effects. I miss this.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of ideas for the future too, with like sets and everything for the turning into like a real podcast show. Yeah,
we've definitely we've gone over a ton of different options, and we also have a second podcast on our films channel called The Film Canister, and that's really it's like a niche. Like if you're really into film, dive in depth. They talk about it kind of like how we're talking about today, just new generation, old generation. It's kind of like that with film, and eventually we'll start to get filmmaking guests on there, and that's what we'll start rolling out as well.
Greg, you ever thought about going to film school?
I have, yeah. It was definitely something that was one of the options in the beginning. The huge thing was just budgeting.
Yeah, right.
Just the monetary aspect of it.
Yeah.
Trust me, we all three of us, I'm sure, know that very well.
Yeah, for sure. And so I figured if I wasn't going to go to film school, at least at the moment, then what I do is just dive in and start making stuff and get as much experience as I can. And, I've already found some pretty good, mentors and, people who are already in the industry working that I've been fortunate enough to work with. So, that my philosophy towards that was like, you know what, if you're not going to go to school, then you at least got to still pursue it. You can't be, the one path, one path and that's it. So I just tried to do my next best option.
Dope. And I think especially like you can study a lot of film in film school, but the most important thing you get is learning how to do. So
exactly.
You provided your own best film school probably,
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I know there's a lot of like, and it really, you have to really study a part of what, who you're going to go with when you do go to film school. Because you may end up at a school where all they do is talk about theory, film theory,
right.
Every class, you don't actually get to learn. And then other ones which are hands-on, they have their own backlots and big cameras with cranes and actual props and stuff like that. So you got to be careful and really do your research.
Yeah, right on. All right, cool. We want to make sure that we talk a little bit about the vision behind YCE and why you guys feel the importance to focus on youth. So we'll come back to that in just a second. We also want to talk a little bit in our second half about some of the artists that you guys are listening to, as well as promoting. So we'll, on a national level and then on a local level too. So we want to talk about all that in the second half. But I think it's a good time right now, right here in the middle of the show, to take a break and catch up on what's going on with our two respective websites, JP Line Productions and Oddball Magazine. That is right. That is right. Jason, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So we have a lot going on at Oddball Magazine this week. If you want to check us out, we're www.oddballmagazine.com. We're poetry, art, and entertainment for the masses. We've been doing this for a long time now, and we love what we do. Shout out to Chad Printo, who is our associate editor, who keeps the ball rolling.
And we just had a birthday, right?
And he just had a birthday. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Chad. What are you, 60 now?
Happy birthday, Chad.
Happy motherfucking birthday.
Happy birthday, Chad. So anyway, we have a lot going on. Let me just tell you what we have going on today. We had yesterday we had the odds by Bill Harvey, and we had a new column. I know a new column, Prof. Shocker, right? This one's called The Secrets of Skinny People. The column is found basically it's on anything written on basically trash. It's written on trash and put up like a comic strip. You have to check it out to see what I'm talking about. Then on Friday we had wise words. Confused. Yeah, I know. It's Chad's brainchild. It's called The Secrets of Skinny People. It's just an interesting column that we have at Oddball. Cool. On Friday I'm going backwards. Friday we had wise words. We love Bruce in his column. Thursday we had Liza's Eyes and her Underground Garden, along with Janet Cormier and her Bamboozle No More. Also, we had feedback with Greg Von Teague, who is our Junkman Radio. He's the one who does all our reviews. His reviews on the Shaky Graves new album. We have a poem by our man, associate editor Chad Printo, celebrating Boston poet Ron Goba. We had It's All One Thing with James Van Looy. We had a poem by Keith Mark Gabori and photography from a good friend of the magazine, Steve Warren, who was part of Just Enough's What Do You Think, which was on Oddball for a short time, which was a pretty cool, surrealist kind of.
Yeah, we talked about that when Just Enough was on.
Yeah, it was awesome. So Steve was his partner on that. Then we had a poem by Ginny Connolly with photography by Brett Stout, and we had the Epic Autism Review today, Fleming Boburn's column that he does every Tuesday, along with another poem by Richard Dinges Jr. with artwork by Justin Evans, and then finally My Jagged Thought 224, Wishful Thinking, which I'll read at the end of the program. So that's what's going on at Oddball. May 21st, I'm going to be reading at an event called This Is My Brave.
Yeah.
Yep, it's next week. I'm going to be reading poetry along with a bunch of people who are going to talk about their recovery, living with a lived condition experience. It's a really powerful thing. So look it up. thisismybrave.com. It's coming to Boston. Last week I was being filmed for it, which is pretty cool. So a lot of good stuff going on in my corner and at Oddball Magazine. Shout out to Chad Parenzo, who keeps the dream going.
Church. Awesome.
Yep. Also, we just want to tell you guys to come and review our Oddball show. We want you to, review us, give us a like on iTunes and all that good stuff.
Yeah, please do. Or even a dislike. We know we got
dislike.
Some. Yeah, we know you're listening, man. If you don't like it, that's okay. You can tell us. We can take it.
It's okay. You can be like, he takes too long on the breaks. He's always stumbling over his shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I really love the sound effects.
Yeah, I love the sound effects. What the fuck is that?
But yes, please come review us on iTunes. So the Oddball Show is a collaboration between JP Line Productions and Oddball Magazine. You can find it at oddballmagazine.com and jplineproductions.com playing live via YouTube. You can also find it through the same technology on our Facebook page and our Twitter page. And then eventually you'll see it up on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. I almost said Twitch, which is not true. That would be incorrect of me.
Maybe we'll try it, though.
Maybe, man. I'm down for anything new. I'm okay with it. And if the kids say it's cool, then it's got to be cool.
Yeah, why not? I'm hip. I'm with it.
That's such a timely reference.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like a 20-year-old movie now.
I love how Austin Powers was. I love Mike Myers, and it's so ingrained in my brain as an all-the-time reference. But it tells you that you're old. Like if you're making an Austin Powers reference, you are old.
Yeah.
And it's not that long ago, but it is.
Wayne's World, party on.
Hey, you don't make fun of Wayne's World. That's one of the top 10 best movies ever made.
Yeah, I know.
We'll have a whole podcast about that. All right, so my name is Prof. I represent JP Lime along with my friend Scholar over here. He's also 1/3 of JP Lime. We are your world with a crunchy hip hop sound. You can find us at jplimeproductions.com, at JP Lime on Twitter and Instagram, and at JP Lime Productions on Facebook. Going on this week, we have obviously the Oddball Show. This version is playing right now. In addition, I would like people to go back and listen to the one with Mr. PSA because they got a lot of cool stuff going on with him and Rec Shop, both together and separately. And they just had a really cool show, which I'd like to be able to follow up with him and put a little something up on the website with acrobatic and terminology this past Friday. So, and I was not able to make it there, but everything I saw was that it was a dope show. So please go listen to that podcast. He talks a little bit about that show and what it took to put that together, and some of the other ones he's putting together. We also have 1981 & Co. this week. So a quick look at our man Spaceman's Instagram, which is called 1981 & Co. You should go follow him, and it'll liven up your Instagram feed. But it's photography and visual art that he's now. We're now forming into a new enterprise through JP Lime. So go check that out. You get links on how to actually purchase his prints. But if you're looking for a little something to spice up your Instagram feed, definitely go check out 1981 & Co. I also want to make sure that I shout out our good friend DJ LSP, whose talents you heard at the opening of the show. And at the end of the show, he does our theme music. He's also the brilliant man behind Blue Star Boulevard, the JP Lime album, and a lot of other great Boston-based hip-hop. So go check out DJ LSP or LSP 1200. You can find all kinds of information about him at JP Lime Productions. Also, at the end of this week, you're going to get the next volume of my series, Welcome to the Swamp, which is a fictional account of a despotic government on the Florida coast. So the next one will be coming out either Friday or Saturday, so definitely go check that out. And you can find out all kinds of information about JP Lime itself. You can see a video from us. You can check out our music, find out all kinds of information about who we are and what we do and why we do it. So please come check us out at jplimeproductions.com, JPLIME productions.com. All right, cool. So that's us two. Let's get right back into this with YCE. As it happens when we're having a good time at the show, it zips right by us. Since we're on the internet, we get to do whatever we want. We can go as long as we like.
Prof, before I have something not so important to talk about, but I just want to talk about how phones watch you and everything you do. So I work on a mobile team, so I'm always driving over people's houses. And so I turned on my phone one time after I was leaving someone's house, and it said 13 minutes to Taco Bell. Like it knew, like I wanted to go to Taco Bell. Like, how is that possible?
It read your deranged mind.
Yeah, it said. Well, I was just looking because my wife is. I just texted her, and I remember the last picture I texted her was of this thing that said 13 minutes to Taco Bell. Which I just thought it was funny.
I feel like we're watching a little piece of the movie Memento. You're just getting little flashes of memories.
Yeah, I got Taco Bell tattooed.
Taco Bell. I sent a picture to my wife.
Okay,
well. I forgot the Celtics are on tonight. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, somehow those are all tied in your brain.
All
right, cool.
Oh, look, a blue car. Okay, go ahead.
Something shiny. So we are live with the guys from Young Culture Entertainment. Please go check them out at youngcultureent.com. Guys, thanks very much for being here. Let's get into the second half a little bit. I definitely want to talk about some of the people that we're listening to, because I think that is a big crux of there's a wide gap, I think, especially in hip hop. So before we do that, though, I just want to finish up a little bit of what we were talking about your company and why it is that you think focusing on youth art and youth creatives of all kinds is really the way to spend your time, or where you see the most value. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like for us, number one, us just being the age we are, we it's the world that we breathe and live in, and it's going to come most naturally to us. And so that's one really good way that we thought would be to go about it, was just, hey, do what we know. And also it's the biggest market, and I think it's what's just dictating the culture right now. I think that the current media stars are getting younger and younger every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with advents of social media, and for better or for worse, you see these 12-year-olds are social media stars or big vloggers, or and whether or not that's a good or bad thing, that's just the current culture and current climate. So we decided to dive headfirst into that and focus on not only making content for youth, but making generally positive content for youth. That's also an important part of what we do.
Who are some of the artists that you feel like you're pushing who fall into that, making positive content?
I know that myself, I make music, but I like to promote the artists currently that we have more. So I'd say that right now our headliners, we have Ray De Niro. He's a big part of what we're launching. We have Alex Cobra. That's more of like, he's more of a singer. We have, myself, I'm Give. It's like just GIV. And we just try to just experiment with new styles, new sounds, kind of flip certain things on its head, and just make music that just comes from what we experience and just comes from the heart. And it's not always sunshine and rainbows, it may not always be, an empowerment message, but it'll be honest and from a place of experience, if you will.
I think it's pretty dope, especially because I think one of the things, I don't want to say I want to leap off if other people got questions about this particular topic, but one of the things that strikes me about, this is a disparaging term, but mumble rap or, the new wave of rap that kind of gets clumped together in a that group sucks. One of the things about it is a lack of diversity of content, in addition to the way that you do it and production and other critiques of it. One of the things would be, just, basic concepts and nothing, the opposite of what you're trying to approach content wise, from a positive perspective. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Yeah. I understand where you're coming from on that. Like, I think, I know that a lot of new artists and rappers catch a lot of flack, and there's a lot of like gray areas. I think there's a lot of like blurred lines when it comes to making that content, because I think even our artists do have they fit into the new sound, at least, with the auto tune and the certain type of flows and stuff like that. But you definitely have a lot of like controversy surrounding a lot of artists nowadays too.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not so positive.
Yeah, not so positive, and I feel like I don't know what I'm aiming to get to is why are we wrong? I use very generally because I've been working pretty hard over the last couple months of trying to break down my own biases against anybody with a Lil before their name. I've been trying to try to break that down for myself because I work with a lot of young kids in the restaurant I work at, and I'm always trying to feed off what they're listening to, and somebody put me on to Lil Skies the other day, who I'd never heard of. I was like, all right, he's got some bars, he's all right, he can rap.
Right, yeah.
And then one of my other kids listens to like, I don't know, I've listened to him more now. XXX Extension. Is that how you say his name?
Extension, I think.
Extension.
Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest. Everyone says it differently. I know a lot of people just call him X, but
yeah, X, and then Smoke Perp. So, and he keeps bringing me somebody new, and he's always has a smile on his face, like I know you're not gonna like this. So I've been trying to like deepen my knowledge about this, and I know that it's inherent old man bias, So like, what I'm trying to dig through here is like, what is it that we are wrong about when old people clump all the new wave of hip hop together? Because Ivan and I were talking about this very subject the other day, and it's clear that it's kind of clear that we are wrong. I hate Lil Yachty. Can't stand him. Of all of them, I think he's probably my least favorite. Although I haven't really listened to Lil Xan, so I don't know. I might dislike him more. But I hate Lil Yachty, but the thing about him is he's got millions of followers. He's got millions of people listening to him. So clearly, like I'm missing something. I'm clearly, there's something that I got to change about. So Ivan and I were talking about this pretty in depth the other day. What is it that is the most foolish stereotype about trap new wave hip hop?
Oh, that's a good question. Actually, Justin. I think Justin will answer that. With efficiency.
I mean, like, it's a hard topic. It's a hard question for like me, at least me. I don't know about all the younger people, on your page too, but I think you have to separate trap, mumble rap, SoundCloud rappers. Because mumble rap, it's self-explanatory. You don't really know what they're saying. It's all about the beats. But even then, all the beats are pretty much the same thing. And you can kind of group all the lils into that. But then, like, for trap, Future, I'm blanking on some names. Travis Scott, Young Thug, all of them. And then SoundCloud rappers, that's really like the new wave of hip hop because everyone's coming from SoundCloud. And I kind of felt like the same way as you guys did because like I'm not a fan of just like basic rhymes and all that. I like saying beats and everything. But
for the record, I don't feel that way. But continue. Okay.
Well, like over time, like you kind of learn to like deal with it because like that's what's in right now. And there is like some good stuff you can pick out of it. Like I mean, 6ix9ine, Tekashi. I actually like Tekashi 6ix9ine. I think he's doing something different, and that's good. A Boogie's in there. Ski Mask, Slump God is in there.
Slump God, I like, yeah.
Yeah. TK's in there. He's really young, but he has potential.
I'm trying to think of like a stereotype.
You like Bad Bobby?
No. And then like you have like the lyricist too, and like one of the newer lyricists, and he's been around for a little bit longer, but Chris Rivers is one that I always look to because he's been around, but he's still newer. Like he doesn't have a lot of followers, but he has enough.
Yeah, I'd say he's certainly less
mainstream.
Yeah. I mean, like son of a legend, son of Big Pun, but it's like I think. He has a sound that doesn't exactly fit in with the mold of he's less 15 minutes of fame. He has a more steady career that's just kind of been built over a long time. So I guess a big stereotype about like the newer wave of artists and people doing it right now would be I don't know if it's a foolish stereotype, but I think that you do have to dig a little harder. But I think there's more diversity in the music than people actually care to admit.
Right on.
And I think that they have more to say than people care to admit. I myself am not the biggest fan of the newest stuff. I don't think that you can put Lil Xan's in the same category as J. Cole, but
right.
They're in their own lanes and they're doing what they do respectively.
J. Cole's also significantly older than
yes, he is. Yeah,
and that's the other thing I think.
Or even than Russ and Lil Xan's. They're both SoundCloud rappers per se, or A Boogie and Russ, but their sounds are so different.
Yeah. If I can interject here real quick, to me, it's not that. Like it's not that complicated. Like the old man bias that you're talking about, Chris. It's not for us. It's that simple. It's not for us.
I wanted to be for me though.
Well, then you want to listen to J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar or maybe Logic or you know what I'm saying? Like these kids who are 14, 15, 16 years old dropping records. What the hell are they going to say that I can relate to as a 37-year-old going on 38-year-old? You know what I'm saying? Like they might. You know, it's not impossible. It's not outside the realm of possibility. But I wouldn't bank on it, and that's no different than your disco freak back in '87. He was 38, and and LL Cool J was talking about Rock the Bells. He's like, what is this 16-year-old talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's at a larger level. It's at a larger scale now because it's the hip hop music in general. And remember, we're talking about hip hop. It's so saturated because anybody could cut a record these days. Before you had to really be fucking good and to stand out to get a demo out. Now you don't necessarily have to be that good to be heard. To have a very broad reach. So if we're talking about the younger rap, the new wave, the trap, the SoundClouds. Like to me, it's all about what do you like, who's making the music that's for you, or what can you identify with. And I might pick up a little a Tekashi 6ix9ine track and just bob the heck out of my head and love the beat, have absolutely no clue what the hell he's talking about, but I enjoy the track. I might pick up a little perp track and think it's absolute garbage, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel the same way about J. Cole. Like, as much as I respect and love J. Cole, I can't listen to the guy. I'd rather listen to Lil Dicky. He cracks me up. I like his beats. He's funny.
I woke up in Chris Brown's body.
And I've never ever heard a J. Cole song where I thought that's whack or that's that wasn't well done. He mailed it. He mailed it in on that one. No, he's very talented. He can rap. He can write. He picks. He picks beats that work for him. Just not my dude. You know what I'm saying?
Like I have the same thinking on J. Cole because I think we talked about it on the last episode. It will go up on Wednesday, but I think J. Cole, because it's so much of J. Cole, because he does the beats, he does the production, he obviously does the lyrics, he has no features anymore. I think it's too much of J. Cole. And I think when you get a J. Cole album that has one specific theme, it's 10 maybe 12 songs, it's it lacks longevity because after a week of buzz, it goes away, and then the second week there's a little there, and then third week, just like with the last thing you dropped, no one's really talking about it.
And you know what I'd say about the newer guys, one big thing that I noticed is the emphasis on being the king is way less important. It's really about the new young guys are not afraid to just make albums together, 3 or 4 of them on a track or on an album, and just make their money. And for better or for worse, but that's just what they're about. I hear them all. I hear a lot, and it's disappointing to say the least when a lot of them are like, "Oh, I'm not about that lyrical shit," and I'm like, "That's the genre you're in. That's a big part of it." But at the same time, you make your music, people buy it, you make your money. Hey, I can't fault you for it.
But I think
it's a big part. It's a big part of it, Greg. But don't let's not forget that rap was founded on couplets and simple rhymes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So people talk about these rappers nowadays. Their lyricism is down. Yeah, it's down if you compare it to Nas and Biggie and golden age mid '90s that everybody loves so much. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not lyrical.
Yeah, and they're also new too. They have plenty of room to grow, and that's what's so great about starting so young.
Exactly, and I do agree. I think you hit the nail on the head. Back in what we call the golden age, when Chris and I were teenagers and Jason were teenagers, everybody was gunning for the throne. everybody wanted to be the king of New York. Everybody wanted to be the king of somebody. That's not the MO anymore. Like you said, these guys are just, they want to be rock stars. They want to be the Migos. They want to be Ray Shremmerd. You know what I'm saying? They could give a crap about being considered the top dog. They just want to have fun. And, you know, I'm not mad at that. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, I can buy in 100% all the time. But fundamentally speaking, like, I have no issues with that. Rap hip hop started as a fun genre. Like, it got deep, it got political, it went through, it got gangsta, it went through all these phases. But the beginning of it was about having fun, man. It was about having fun, block parties, graffiti, you know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff.
I think it's a really interesting distinction that I hadn't really picked up on, but I think it's definitely true. And I always thought it was not weird, because hip hop kind of takes as it's like one of its foundations, a competitiveness, but I always kind of thought it was a little bit weird that, like, or just I never felt it as an artist of like having to have a king and be the top dog and have a hierarchy, like you know, we have top 5 discussions and that kind of thing, but I always thought it was a little bit forced, and I think it's a really interesting characteristic that I hadn't really noticed about these young rappers. Yeah, there's a lot of collaborating, and there's not a lot of talk of, like, you know, hierarchy or who's top. Ironically
enough, the only dude doing that, right? I shouldn't say only. There may be others, but the one that I'm most aware of that's still doing that is Tekashi 6ix9ine. Right. He legit claims King of New York, and you know what? Like, by his, you know, in his demographic, he might be. He might be. Like, I have a friend who compared him to Tupac. Is that crazy on so many levels? Absolutely, but he broke it down. He was like, when I listen to Tupac, I get angry and I love that shit. And when I listen to Tekashi 6ix9ine, I get angry and I love that shit. And I was like, yeah, you got that. You know, what could I say? Like, you know, this is one person's interpretation of that artist, one person absorbing that particular artist, and it reminds them of one of the GOATs. Hey, kudos to Tekashi, you know? I'm not mad at that.
It kind of makes me think about 50 when he was coming up, because 50 was doing the same thing. He was doing it his way. And he wanted to become, you know, the best. And that's what 6ix9ine's doing too.
Yeah. And those two are chummy.
Was kind of talking about that too.
Yeah.
And 50 killed it coming out of the gate. You know.
Yeah.
That album is dope. That first album is just is a classic.
And it was downhill after that. But I mean, hey, so be it. You know what I mean? And not in a bad way. Like, he still had his run, but he was never able to replicate.
No.
I think what was funniest about that segment was Justin at 19 talking about when 50 came up, which was about 18 years ago.
Well, I mean, I was gonna bring it up earlier too, talking about what is it, like the rise of the littles and everything. Yeah, I think that's because of the streaming era, and it's so easy to just put out a track and hopefully if you're good enough, or even if you're not good enough, you can get some people to listen to it. But that's also because, like how I mentioned 50, like it's easy to go back in time and listen to everything.
Yeah, you can. I mean, nowadays you can make a hot single out of like the demo version of FL and some ripped auto tune that you got like off of emulator or something. Like, if people just put it together, you know, it's like super accessible.
But you know the thing about I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Question for you, Greg, and Justin also different. A different platform, but, you know, as an artist, with the market being so saturated because of social media, you know, amongst other things, how do you, what's your approach as far as, you know, standing out and getting noticed and expanding your reach? Like, how do you break that plane when you've got, you know, seemingly like millions upon millions upon millions of people doing the same thing? How do, you know, what do you do with your art to make sure to maximize your chances of getting noticed?
That's a really interesting question.
Besides coming on the Oddball Show. I mean,
yeah, of course, yeah. Like, something that
stock's gonna soar now, man.
That's something that we still like are figuring out, to be honest. Like, because you can read, you know, I've taken online courses, I've talked to marketers, I've looked all over the internet, and no matter how much advice you can get and no matter how much knowledge you gain on that stuff, you could do everything perfectly and still get completely lost in the darkness. There is an element of randomness to it, but I'd say a big portion of it is following trends, being timely, with when you release your content, and unfortunately, like for better or for worse, controversy. You don't have to do something crazy, but it's
but
very
it doesn't hurt.
Exactly. It's just a soundbite world, so it's like you got to catch that attention in the first 0.2 seconds nowadays, and it's like, people are making films on Snapchat because you'll always have your audience who will consume your long form content, but for new fans just passing by, you have to capture them, and unfortunately, I think that's happened a lot to our media, and when it comes to politics, even is that it's like,
it's
got me headline, and then you read the article if you even get to the article, and it's nothing like the headline.
I was just hashtag bitching and moaning old man ways the other day about people don't ask why, people don't think anymore, they just react.
That's a
bit too broad of a generalization, but it feels that way.
There's definitely a huge element of truth to it, and when you're trying to create like positive, uplifting content, that doesn't really like fall in line with the controversy. So you have to, at least in my perspective, strike a balance, because like on our show or on Justin's barbershop talk, we don't want to necessarily deplatform or spew negativity, but if someone's got conflicting opinions, we want to definitely bring that out. We want to highlight it, and no one's a monolith when it comes to young culture, so we can definitely get controversy and arguments and differing opinions without becoming negative, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. How about you, Justin?
We're talking about staying different.
Yeah, like getting noticed, expanding your reach, making sure you stand out.
What I try to do is it's harder for like art in general. Yeah. But if you look at like the cover arts for a lot of the singles and albums that are released on YCE, I try to make them all different. So like they're all illustrations, and they're basic illustrations, but they also have a lot of detail in them when you look. And then especially my the clothing line I have, TBA. Yeah. Everything is like it's following trends, but with my own touch on it. So they're different, but also in the new style.
For our listeners, Justin, what's the acronym TBA?
TBA is taken by affection.
That's awesome. Not to be announced.
Not to be announced. Yeah.
That was the whole concept behind it. Yeah.
But there is that like just randomness. Like I know that just like running the YouTube channel, you create a one-off video that gets like I made a video in my basement talking about like how to design a post-apocalyptic costume as like a companion video to our web series, and it got 40,000 views. And then we've done these, we've poured our heart and soul into videos that get like 10 views, and it's like it's so weird the way certain things work, and what goes viral and what doesn't. I guess it's when you get caught. It's when a certain person runs over your content and decides to share it.
It's that marketing thing is part of what we talked about, Ivan, the other day, that they're getting in addition to there are millions of people following them, they're doing something right as far as marketing goes. And we're trying to put our finger on it here now, and it's an elusive concept, but there's definitely marketing to be done in a super saturated market like this, where all the tools are at your disposal. The way that you market yourself, whatever that happens to be, whether it's controversy for somebody like 6ix9ine or like I don't know, something else that cuts through red hair,
Twerk videos,
cut through.
We started learning it's really about like personalities. Like people just love, like that's why Instagram Live is so popular. It's literally just someone holding a phone, like just selfie angle and going live and just talking. But people eat that stuff up. Like if they see their favorite rapper go live on Instagram or their favorite celebrity they're in that instantly.
Or their favorite twerk model.
Yeah, if they have anything to say online, well, they probably won't be saying much. But.
I'm just saying, it amazes me the number of Instagram models that have like hundreds of thousands of followers. Like, what are you, public figure? What does that mean? Hashtag old man ways again. I'm old, man.
Well, okay, so we'll end on this question, or to close that out. Justin and Greg, what are your favorite social media avenues? What do you use most actively, and what do you like the most? Because we're all on different ones. There are some that I use by almost by force at this point, but I'm sure they're different. What do you guys use for social media that you really like?
So I think by force is a good choice of words, because I like using Instagram because it's easier to see your engagements.
Yeah, same.
It's especially for posting stuff, like keeping people updated. Twitter, I like using too, but like people are forced to use that because like everyone uses Twitter, and it's not the best for marketing stuff, but you have to be on it, and that's especially for Facebook, because you have to update Facebook, but it's really bad now.
I personally can't like I love Facebook's businesses tools, but unfortunately, like the market has shifted. A lot of the younger audiences have moved to the quicker ones. So, for instance, like Snapchat and Twitter. Yeah. I can't stand Twitter, to be honest. I think you can get. I know they just expanded their character limit, but it's like, especially when it was 140 or that was 140, right? Yeah, the messaging that you could get out in that was very minimal. So you got to be quick, and Twitter, I just haven't been able to nail down. I love Instagram businesses tools.
Instagram is definitely not favorite.
Yeah, they're really helpful with that.
C's down 7 at the half.
Hell yeah! I mean, wait, no, that's not good.
No, that's okay. They've been shooting like shit, so that's as long as they don't go down 15. 7 at the half, I can live with that.
Right on.
Anyway, my bad.
No, that's fine. Please, we need some updates up here. And what about this? My last question with social media is: you guys use Snapchat? I tried for a long time to use Snapchat, and I like kind of hate it that I can't. It is the one that makes me feel the most like an old man. I'm like, I don't get. It's like a language I don't speak.
Well, I'd say there's two. There's like a twofold element to that. There's like the communication side of Snapchat, which is like the bottom like totem pole end of importance. But the stories are a pretty good asset, and I know a lot of celebrities use their public stories, and it's a great way to same concept as Instagram Live. And I did want to hit another note on Instagram too that I found super interesting, is that it's a surprisingly good network tool. Like it's very shallow at first when you look at it. It's like, oh, it's just pictures of people. The comments don't really matter. They're not really highlighted or forefronted, or there's no top comments.
There's no linking.
Right. You can only do it in your bio. But I've had conversations with a lot of the celebrities that I've interviewed on Instagram. I can shoot them an Instagram DM and they'll see it and respond for whatever reason. But Twitter, Facebook, I've never got that kind of response.
Interesting.
I don't know what it is.
I was going to touch on Snapchat too. If you can get a lot of people that are following you and like what you're doing to go on to your Snapchat, then it's a good tool. But there's a big if there, because like adding someone on Snapchat isn't like a thing people do. It's like adding friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's more of an like in your circle, like interpersonal type of thing.
Well, like Facebook, like that's that's the key difference for me between like Facebook and Twitter or Instagram, is that like everybody I know on Facebook I actually know, as opposed to like Twitter. I follow all kinds of people. Some I know, and some I'm interested in what they're making and talking about.
Clearly, I'm using Snapchat all wrong, because I don't know most of the people. I thought that was the one where you could just follow random people like MySpace back in the day. All right, let's see what she's up to. Let's see what he's up to.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Anywho,
well, I did that actually a little bit at the beginning, because like Joey Badass was somebody that when I first signed on to Snapchat, he was using it a lot, and like I tried to like use it that way, and it wasn't quite. I tried to follow celebrities, and like I didn't get very far with trying to use it that way.
Yeah, I just want to use a communication tool. Maybe I might catch, like I follow like Gary Vee on Snapchat and just get my like daily inspiration from him, but like Instagram, Instagram is taking over Snapchat. Every time Snapchat updates, Instagram just assimilates the feature, and they have a much larger user base than Snapchat. So, I feel bad for Snapchat because they have to like constantly try to keep their head above water, but
I don't feel too bad, man. That guy dropped out is like with 3 credits left. to start Snapchat, and
yeah. He is, yeah.
yeah. But anywho.
Well, listen, we've run clear through the oddball hour and into overtime. As happens, like I said, when we're having a good time, we cruise right through the show here. I do want to make sure before we go to we have two closing things we're going to do here. Before we get to that, I want to make sure that we give Justin and Greg a chance to hit our listeners with any places that we have not mentioned that they should come and check you out. Could you hit us with your online math, if you would, please?
Sure. I've done my best to kind of consolidate it. Young Culture ENT. I'd pretty much plug that into anywhere that you can think of: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, our websites, everything like that is Young Culture ENT. Website's youngcultureent.com, and that's probably the best place. If you pop over there once in a while, everything we do is always on site, whether it's music, new products, new videos, and then subscribe to our YouTube channels. Young Culture Films and Young Culture Music.
Right on.
Yep.
Awesome.
For me, if you go to my Instagram, that's where you'll get most of the updates. It's JDeJesus5, and then that's really all you need to know for the update part. But for the clothing line, TBA, it's run through Teespring, so it's teespring.com and it's /takenbyaffection. We can give you the link for that too.
Awesome.
We'll get all that posted for you guys, right?
Yep, exactly. We'll put that right up in the pertinent link section. Just scroll down right past the Oddball Show. Nice orange heading that says pertinent links. There'll be all of that for your consuming pleasure.
Perfect.
Well, it has been a great pleasure having you guys on the show here. We really thank you for taking the time and hitting our listeners with something that some really valuable media.
Good knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
We're going to close out with a new segment called Either Or, which
Either or.
Either Or. And then Jason's going to do...
Oh, no.
That was good. And then Jason's going to do his Jagged Thought, and then we'll get on and up out of here. But yeah, thank you very much to the guys from Young Culture Entertainment. All right. So Either Or, we're doing a hip-hop version of Either Or. This will be a segment
Either or.
There you go. Yeah.
Perfect. We'll do it with. This will be upcoming on future shows with different topics, but tonight's is hip hop. So I'm just going to kind of bounce around between our four other people that are not me, and hit them each with a either or, and it could be for whatever qualities or reasons. But yeah, just hit me with your which one of the 2 or 3 or 5 or whatever.
All right.
We'll start with Ivan. Ivan, 1993 or 1988?
1988.
1988. And just because of the sheer amount or quality?
Well, 93 was a great year. 1988 was a great year. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go with the 80s on that one.
All right.
If you had said 95 or 96, but 88 was a good year for hip hop, man. That's probably the best year for hip hop of the 80s. I'm sure that's debatable. To me, as awesome as 93 was, I think 94, 95, 96.
Right on. Get some Wu-Tang in there.
Yeah. 93 was dope, but 88, man. That's
93, man.
Bias.
It's the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Try to make what's that Tribe Called Quest line? So what? You got a crew. I got one too. It's called the Brooklyn Zoo. You know what I'm talking about? Low End Theory.
Yeah.
Yep, that shit is the bomb.
All right, let's hop on over to Justin. Justin, Nas or Jay-Z?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Like he said it with the quickness too.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, they got 2 of the biggest catalogs for sure, and obviously they have a interpersonal. They're around the same time and they got their feud and whatever. But like, I think as far as hip hop catalogs, they are. There's very few that can hold a candle to 2 of them.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that Jay-Z, at least to me, a lot of his stuff there hasn't really been a lot of misses with Jay-Z. One of the ones I would say is Magna Carta. But that's
Right on. I actually agree with that. And I even up to like the Black Album and shit. Like, I like most of that.
Especially the Evolution, like 440.
And don't forget, Watch the Throne.
No, you're totally right though about the Evolution. I agree.
Yep.
And the Watch the Throne is obviously a whole different animal. All right. Let's see. Greg, old Snoop or young Snoop?
Whoa. Okay. Oh wow. Okay. You know what? I like old Snoop for the reason that I just love what he's doing right now. Like, not just music wise. Like his music's good still, but I think he's like just hilarious. Like the way he's becoming this, like evolving into like this social media icon and commentator.
There's certainly nobody like him.
I just like, yeah, it's just he's hilarious. Like he's kind of transcended the hip hop genre, and he's just becoming this like this meme, if you will. Like, and I really like that. I think it's a great way to stay relevant.
Right on. I agree.
What's that show that he hosts? Whammies?
Joker's Wild, right?
Yeah, the Joker.
It's wild.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but yeah, now he's a game show host.
Martha Stewart, like it's just all this stuff he's doing, nature documentaries. I love it.
A reggae album, a gospel album,
reggae album,
but none of it is wrong, because that's somehow he has made a space where like all of that is totally possible, and he's a legit gangster. Like you know, none of it is selling out or. I think it's a very interesting and unique space. So
agree. Yeah, that's all him.
Jason, Low End Theory. Answer to everyone is Kanye.
Yeah.
Low End Theory or Midnight Marauders?
Oh man, Low End Theory. Midnight Marauders is a great album, but Low End Theory was like the first album that I could rhyme every single line to. Definitely Low End Theory.
I mean, that's definitely probably their best-selling album. I know. I'm
but
sure
Midnight
all
Marauders
four of their big albums.
Phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's like a killer album, but Low End Theory is amazing.
Midnight Marauders is where I came into Tribe. I had to go back and listen to Low End Theory, and then the instinctive moves of people.
Yeah. And then there was the other one that they came out with. Man, my brain is toast. Yeah, Midnight Marauders, and then Low End Theory. Yeah, and then there was that other one. The one with Ivan, help me out. What was the third Tribe Called Quest album?
Dude, I'm not a Tribe fan. You know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you tried this discussion before. Anywho.
Well, anyway, Low End Theory. It's definitely a dope album.
All right, right on. All right, let's slide back over to Justin. Justin, DJ, MC, graffiti, or breaking?
Oh, graffiti.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kind of assumed I was one. You know, I was one. Give us some space. All right, and Greg, Spotify, Tidal, or neither?
Spotify for sure.
Yeah.
I just think that the UI is good, and I like what they're doing with certain like integration with Hulu. I think that's smart. I think they're a pretty forward-thinking streaming platform. You know, I know that the artist return is very minimal, but I just like Spotify better. It's integrated into a lot more platforms as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love Spotify. I listen to it all day long, and I love everything like you said, all the different updates they do. The thing I think about Tidal is, you know, it would be nice if it worked out, but I just don't understand how it's ever gonna work.
I know. Yeah, it's too niche. Like it's just like the way it was launched, and I don't know.
You're fighting an uphill battle. Like you're fighting against a market that like there's no way right now to be that exclusive. Like,
exactly.
You know, I'm not going to sign on to Tidal just for extra videos and shit. You know, like
just to get Jay-Z. You know, just because they pulled Jay-Z off of Spotify.
Which you know should be a theoretically like.
Wrong, but
what's that?
I said I think you guys got that all wrong, but Tidal's not competing with Spotify or Apple. Man, they're happy with their share of the marketplace. They're about to drop Prince's new album.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what they are. They're the niche streamer. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean, you know, it not working out for them. Like, sure, if you define that as not catching Spotify or Apple Music, then you're 100% right. But they don't need to be successful.
Oh, by the way, that
as a fan, don't get me wrong. Like as a streamer myself, sure, you want to go Spotify, you want to go because there's more. There's more there. It's more appealing to the music.
Well,
Spotify's
that's a really
incredible.
good perspective.
Business model, it's not bad, dude. It hasn't folded yet, and I don't think it's gonna happen. He's gonna sell a title for a lot of money down the line. Like right now, hold on to it because it's growing. It may not be growing,
Beats, Rhymes, and Life,
but it's growing.
You can find the third Tribe Called Quest album, the fourth Tribe Called Quest album, Beats, Rhymes, and Life on Spotify as well.
I like how you circled that back. Oh shit. Let's see. Ivan.
Mm-hmm.
Fugees or Lauryn Hill solo?
Whoa.
Lauryn Hill solo.
Lauryn Hill solo. And then we're just going to double up here. Oh, wow. Actually, I kind of expected you to go the other way. But that's interesting. And we're going to double up here. NWA with Ice Cube or Ice Cube solo?
That's a great question. I'm going to go with Ice Cube solo because of longevity. Like NWA with Ice Cube was one album. It was true. The NW, it was straight out of Compton. Ice Cube, I have a lot of Ice Cube music, so I have a lot more solo Ice Cube music than just NWA with Ice Cube for obvious reasons. So I'm gonna
Ice Cube solo gave us No Vaseline.
Yeah, gave us No Vaseline. Gave us
a Predator
good
album.
day. Well, the thing is, Ice Cube also was responsible for straight out of Compton.
Yeah.
It's like 70% him. So
Right.
Yeah.
Word. All right, let's do just a couple more here. Greg. Oh, actually, no. Yeah. Okay, Greg. Hip hop beefs or new alliances?
New alliances.
All right, right.
I don't know if I'm. Well, I don't know if I'm familiar with it. New alliances.
Just like any new like Pusha T is now the vice president.
I see.
Or even like collaborations, like as opposed to making
like the new Kanye
being into the beefs like Kanye, 50, Jay-Z, Nas,
the Kanye Kid Cudi mixtape. That's
I'm in that. I think that's gonna be like a whole new wave of interesting music. Like I've never seen so many like collab albums be like announced at one time. Like I saw a huge list of like 2018 albums coming, and it's like there's not a solo artist on there. It's it's this person and this person, and then most recently like you had like Ray Shremmerd and Sway Lee and them like dropping that 3 album project essentially, and like so I'm Prime, yeah.
All right,
I'm all for artists collaborating and mixing sounds.
Right on. All right, let's do one over here with Justin. I'm going to give you a whole list of people. Rank your top 5 from biggest to littlest. Lil Pump, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, Lil Durk, Lil Wop, Lil Skies, Lil Romeo, Lil Xan, Lil Windex, and Lil Wayne.
Lil Windex.
There's Lil Windex.
This Lil Windex. I did not know about this dude, but yeah.
So.
I need a text list.
No, I got it. Lil Xan is, you said top 5, right?
Yeah, like you're biggest of the Lils.
All right, so.
And if I missed, if this is a Lil that should have been mentioned, just pop him into the list. Who are your top 5 Lils?
Well, number 1 is Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Number 2. I don't know. Look. Number 5 is Lil Yachty.
All right.
Maybe Lil Durk. We'll put him at 4.
There you go. What about Uzi?
Oh, Uzi's number 2. And then 3. I don't know. You can put Lil Pump there because he's funny.
I don't think I said Lil Bow Wow. We could have included him, I suppose.
You could have put him there too.
What about Lil Kim?
Well, that's a whole different thing. She's like legit. I guess I did also put Lil Wayne in there. So I don't know.
Off the top of my head, yeah.
Oh my god, that's a parody on it, but still counts.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, and then we'll do one more with Justin. Beastie Boys or Run DMC?
DMC, just because that's what I grew up on.
And then we'll go around the board. Start with Justin. Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
Biggie. Greg?
I was like, if you said Jay-Z, then you said Biggie. Yeah. Tupac. Yeah, predictable, but yeah.
You know what I like about both you guys? It was a hard answer. I think for most old guys, it's like a automatic. Like, we love both, but I'm sure there's gonna be. I'm gonna ask Ivan next, and I'm sure his answer will be pretty automatic.
The number of conversations I've had about Biggie and Tupac are.
And it's like out of a place of love for me. Like, I love both of their music for
absolutely.
different reasons. But I'm more into like Tupac's style of music because I'm a Debbie Downer. No.
Yeah. He likes lyrics.
Yeah.
He likes the lyrics.
Scholar?
Tekashi, man.
You take some both, man.
6ix9ine. No, Pac.
Yeah. And then Jason?
Pac.
Yeah. But I think it's funny how, like, you know, and I'm Pac too. I love Biggie, but like, Pac is. I've always been Pac since I was 12 years old. So like, I think it's an interesting thing, you know, over, you know, like both Greg and Justin kind of equivocated and could have gone either way, maybe, like they decided. But I think I think that's an interesting, maybe generational thing, maybe not. Who knows? All right. Well, that has been either or.
Either or.
That was cool.
That was cool, yeah.
All right. Well, we've now gone pretty well through our time here. I want to thank everybody for being on here tonight. Ivan, thanks for coming on and lending us your wisdom and scholarly insight.
Yeah, man.
Justin and Greg, thank you very much. We really do appreciate the time, and we all of our listeners, please go out and check out Young Culture Entertainment. There's a lot for you to enjoy and take in, and it's a movement that you should really be a part of. So please go check them out.
YCE.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hashtag YCE.
Hey guys, it's been great. I'm gonna hop off now, but I love you guys. Thanks, you know, for being on the show with us, Chris and Jason. Thanks for having me back on, and I'm getting out of here, fellas.
Right on. Go Seas.
Interwebs. Go Seas, and
you're fired.
That's a good exit. I like that. You're fired. Bye, right. Felicia.
Peace.
Bye, Felicia.
The Oddball Show is a collaboration between JP Line Productions and Oddball Magazine. You can find it at both of our websites. You can also find it on all of our social medias, on Twitter and on Facebook and Instagram. Please come check us out. Leave us a review, as we said, on iTunes, and come tell us what you think of the podcast. We really enjoy the feedback. We've gotten some. We really we love hearing from you. So yeah, come check us out at our respective websites, and thank you very much for tuning in, whether it has been tonight or sometime in the future. All right, Jason's going to take us out of here with his jagged thought. My name is Prof.
All right, Prof. Absolutely. Thanks, Justin and Greg from Youth Culture Entertainment, Young Culture Entertainment. We really had a good time having you on the show today.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thanks. Absolutely. So, okay, we're gonna end the show with Jagged Thought 224. Wishful thinking. That's all I know. I got to get out of this mindset. Writing poems should be in bed. This book is unread. It hasn't been read yet. The lines in the mind, the microwave mind, popcorn chatter, trying to unwind. It's a test. Another belt hip check. Change your mindset like the television remote control. Free prose. Wishful thinking. My mind says I'm going to be fine today. Just got to read what's written. The cue cards are held by the 1st and the 15th, and I can't seem to get to what's underneath. I just want to take a memory rain check, leave my brain back at breakfast with the waitress, put my hands together, clasp tight like magnets, and find meaning in my words. Dance like this has so many left feet. So many times I try and repeat the same thing. So many times I try and repeat the same thing. So many times I try and repeat the same thing, like a broken record, skipping, skipping, like a leaky faucet, dripping, like wishful thinking. Drive up the bargain basement, rhyme store, World Star Entertainment, bargain rack, beatbox. I try and write to the meter, but I get shocked when the beat drops. Listen to the rock star, rambunctious rock and roller. Water the plants, put the baby in the stroller. Time for a mental health check. Your whole courtroom's out of order. They call it a disorder. They call it a condition. They call it schizophrenia. They call it mental illness. I guess it's all of those things mixed with medicinal thinking a pill will fix it all. Nope, no, that's wishful thinking. I shaved the gray out of the sky, took my feet off of the ceiling, rode to the rapture, waited in line just to see how he was feeling. And man searches for meaning. I search for living in the moment, keeping in focus while the world goes out of lens and darkness slowly approaches. But rats to roaches, to cars to coaches, to the basketball team who never let me in the game, to all the broken noses, to all the missed opportunities, to all the bastard nicknames, to all the head games, to the missed shots and all the wounded mind frames, to the racket causing what's all that racket, to the swish to the basket. But I feel good with this jazz backdrop, so I get right back at it. This is a free prose. The aliens have landed. Typing on my computer to the beat on the radio. The bug has been broadcasted in stereo. Flute loop beast in the basement. Wishful thinking. That's all I know. And that has been Jagged Thought 224. Wishful thinking. That's all I know. Once again, guys, thanks for being on the show. We'll be here again in 2 weeks, but yeah, we really appreciate you being on the show, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having us. We had a good time.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, guys, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace out. The Oddball Show.
This is the Oddball Show, a podcasting collaboration from Babyland Productions and Oddball.